So I just spent some time wrapping a bunch of these boxes that came with my LOL and OMG Amazing Surprise Pack. Colleen had suggested that we could use these as photo props. So the ones that like have slide out trays, we're gonna use for like boutique props. So like if we wanted to have this open with things coming out of it. But then these were all the ones that just opened normally, and this wrapping paper was all left over from backdrops I made out of wrapping paper. So I just made kind of a mix. So we have like some birthday themed ones, some Christmas themed ones, and then some just floral paper. And I'm gonna keep them in this box that the oldie moldies dolls were in, because it's a good place to store them because there's quite a few. So these are some of the boxes I wrapped from my LOL Amazing Surprise Pack, and we've already gotten some use out of them. Colleen put them in the 2012 Bratz holiday photo too, the ones I wrapped with Christmas paper. These are my We Three Friends party dolls I've had since I was a kid. Like these boxes, they make a great prop. What do you think?
I think so too. We have more with this balloon paper obviously, but I didn't want to blend in with the backdrop.
So over the weekend when we went to a plaza, because Colleen had a gift card for a store she got for her birthday, we popped in at Michael's because we knew they were having a sale on scrapbook paper. And originally I was kind of on the fence about getting more pads because the way this sale was, it was 3 for the price of 1. And that's a lot of boxes and contact paper and stuff that I would need. But after sitting there in the store for like 15-20 minutes debating, I finally decided just to get them because we've been taking a lot of photos in our Collections in Line album on Flickr. We've been redoing that album, and we're just always needing different backdrops. So although there's a few kinds that I can think of in my head that I want to make, I just haven't found the right paper for or don't have all the supplies to make yet, I thought these would come in handy. So there was this In the Bloom one. This one's really cool because even though it would seem pretty generic with like flowers and things, it has this theme of keys and bikes, which makes it different, and that would work really well for princess dolls like Ever After High, and the bikes would look really great. Then, of course, my favorite one that we got is this coffee-themed one. Colleen and I love doll play sets that have food, and we also have a donut shop for our Barbies that would be great against this background. But you can see here, this one has really cool print. I had seen this one before and almost bought it, but there were other books that I felt I would have more immediate use for, so I love this one. And then the last one was this Coastal Cove one. It's nautical. And I always have uses for beach-themed ones. I have so many like tropical ocean beach-themed ones. And this would be great for my Ocean Friends Barbie line photo. I also had to get more contact paper. They had the size I liked this time. I thought they discontinued it because the last time I made backdrops, I want to say it was back in August, they only had the tall one, which I would not buy again. This is the regular size that I like. And I also got more glue and another roll of tape because I always need those. I always run out. I was going to wait and just kind of buy like a box or 2 at a time, but it's kind of a hassle because one of these only does 3 sides of a book, like of the boxes, so it does like 1.5 boxes, and then they kind of have to sit up here and wait to be covered, and Colleen can't use them right away. And since she's been doing at least 3 photos a weekend, it just made more sense to have these ready to go. This is me prepping the boxes because this size needs to be cut down. I mean, even when I originally started making these and there were better box sizes, I still had to trim off the tabs, but this one requires a little bit of strange measuring. So you'll see here, I haven't cut the boxes down fully. I just cut the slits down the side so I could lay it out in a flat panel. And then what I'll do after is once I've had all my pages glued down, then I just use a ruler and cut right along like 1/2 inch above the top of the backdrop if it's one I don't want to be able to like flip around, just because if I trim it before, I find that sometimes I am off by a little bit and then there's a little bit of extra paper hanging. So here I ripped out the whole entire book, and that's usually what I do, and then I group them first by like things, so all of the ones that have quotes, all of the ones that have a strong print, all of the plainer papers, all of my favorite pages, and then I figure out a way to divide them so that way like all the plain pages don't end up on one backdrop unless I think I want a plain backdrop. And this is the gluing process. While I have a can of Mod Podge out, that's actually just the Elmer's glue poured into it because it's cheaper and it works just about the same. It's just a little bit runnier. And I found that by like running the can of Mod Podge over the top helped smooth things down better than using my hands, so that's why I'm making like circular motions. And then in this next clip, this is where I'm laying down the contact paper, which sometimes can take some repositioning, but that's what I like about this contact paper is you can usually lift it up and reposition it. It doesn't tear up at the page unless there's like gold leafing. And once I do the bottom row, then I do the top row, and then I add tape between all of the seams and around. And then this is just a series of shots from me finishing the backdrops and showing you what they all look like completed. And you can see at the beginning when I was showing the books, I included a few pictures of what we've used the backdrops for already, but I do want to note that there are a lot more pictures that we've taken with these backdrops. I just included a few of them that were already edited in public or that were just my favorites. So you'll definitely see more of these on my Flickr. Despite having an obscene number of backdrops, we get a lot of use, and there's always ideas for more we need or want. And I just really enjoy the, I guess, personal flair it can add to a photo set, and also it helps sharpen up the image of the dolls, whereas when I used to just photograph them on the floor without a backdrop, they didn't come in as focus as well, and you couldn't appreciate all the accessories, and sometimes you'd see ugly things in the background. So this is just kind of like a little cute personal spin on photos, and it makes them more varied, especially like the line photos. I used to just have them all against the same calendar backdrops, and it was very boring. Already one of these backgrounds has gone to use with my Midnight Beach dolls. We're currently packing up. I have all of these old like seashells that I used to have in my room as a kid. Some of them are fake and some of them were real, like that I collected from the beach. And there's also these like blue stones that I used to put in a glass for like decoration. So we're packing it up. They photographed really well against this background. Their greeny skin tones can be problematic, but already getting use. So I have these two dolls that I want to reroot. Now Great Shape Barbie over here literally just has like these tufts cut, and I've had her for a while now, probably about 4 years, and I don't know why I didn't just take care of that when I got her, but I'm just going to put a few new hair plugs in there. And then we have Colleen's straight leg skipper called Little Red, who we've done a lot to her hair. It's much nicer than it was when Colleen got her, but she's literally missing half of her head. So I bought hair for her back in my Christmas Miracles lot when my Avery needed hair. I thought I would get Skipper hair because I've been planning to reroot her for about a year. So that's what I'm gonna do. I can't partially reroot her because this is not like a hair type they make anymore. So I have Saran, and honestly, like, it's not a nice hair type anyways, so I say like just go for it. So that's what we're gonna do. So this is my setup here. I have some water to dunk the dolls in. I normally use a smaller dish, like what I put baking soda in during cleaning, but I needed to pop this doll's head off. I forgot to do it when we were boil washing some other dolls earlier. And Skipper was easy because I could just pull her off. I have my scissors, my needle, my crochet hook. I need to get a better one that's slightly tinier, but we'll have to make do, and some pliers, because that's how I'm going to get these nubs out of Barbie. And then I have my two types of hair. I'm going to need to get more of this red in the other room, but probably not going to finish Skipper tonight. So this is Skipper after her reroot. She's also wearing a different outfit. She was wearing the party platter dress beforehand, but Colleen decided to put her in this Town Talks outfit, which we recently got in a lot. And I gave her hair, like, I kept her hair a little bit longer, and her bangs, just because I thought it was a tad more flattering. But I'm actually impressed with how she came out. I mean, her parting line's not perfect because she had some split plugs and she was rooted awkwardly to begin with, but I'm really happy with how this came out, just for the fact that I've never really tried to do anything so precise. I usually don't mimic the factory styles exactly, but she looks great. And then we have Great Shape Barbie here. You can see that she does have like a streak because I didn't have the exact shade of blonde. But her factory hair was already really nice, so in terms of like shininess and sleekness, it matches. And her hair's also a bit darker because it oxidized funny over the years. It's kind of got a red tint, but she's really nice. So this madness is because I am going to be reorganizing my beloved Monster High dolls. They live in this big container now, which is labeled Shelly's Barbies, because believe it or not, before I got back into collecting, we only had 5 containers of dolls, so this was where all of my Barbies were housed. And then I had one of the big but slightly smaller containers for, like, I want to say Friends and Disney dolls and my Brats. And then we had 3 skinny containers, one for Kelly, one for Ken and Stacy, and one for Skipper. They all fit in those 5 containers, but my Monster High dolls have lived in here because they're pretty lightweight, so it made sense to put them in this big container. The problem is, despite how you can pack in, like I have almost 200, and I could have probably fit another 20 or 30 in this container easily, it's that they're so small that they wiggle a lot, and I don't know if you can tell, but they're somewhat disheveled, and because a lot of them leak glue, that kind of makes their bangs more likely to stick up. Like I have some, poor Dracula over here has her bangs sticking up. And I spend a lot of time grooming them, and it's just a hassle, and we use them all the time for photos and videos. I bought these packs of containers at Walmart. So there's 2 sets in each pack, and these were about $8 with tax. So I have 4 containers. I don't think they're all gonna fit in the 4, but I'm gonna see how many I can fit because obviously I want some growing room. So that's a tip of mine. When you're storing dolls, if you know that it's a collection you're actively adding to, I always buy stuff like containers or whatever I'm storing my doll stuff in with growing room. So even though I have a lot, and it seems like I get a lot because I do, space isn't really an issue for me because the way I organize is always planned to make more room for dolls. So if they all fit in here but there's no growing room, then I'll buy another pack of 2. The reason why I went extra skinny is because, you know, they're articulated, and sometimes like certain dolls' limbs come off, or they have like little hair pieces sometimes that fall off, and usually I take off anything that constantly falls, but you know, some of them have, like Frankie's tights are coming down because she's strong. So I kind of consider them a little bit more delicate, and even though nobody broke or anything with all of the weight in here, I just wanted something a little more practical, especially because if you have to dig all the way to the container to get one doll, you end up...
Hola! Nej, it's too early for dinner. Nej. Phoebe.
That's Phoebe. Anyways, if you have to go all the way to the bottom of the container to get one doll, and then you have to put everyone back, it's really time consuming, and sometimes if you just don't really have the time, they don't get put back perfectly, and I'm very like obsessive about how they look. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'll check in with you guys and let you know how I organize them.
What are you doing, darling? Are you hungry? Are you hungry, Penelope? Are you hungry, babes? Hello? Hi. You hungry? You think you're getting food? Don't you? You fatties.
So I'm done organizing. Surprisingly, the 4 containers worked. Now, I thought that I could fit them all technically, but I wasn't sure how much growing room there would be. So based on my calculations, as long as they aren't super weird like Avia here, even like Posea, she fit in just fine like a regular doll. You can fit about, so you can fit 66 dolls.
Wow.
In each container if you really pack them, because see how there's 2 rows of heads, I can fit a third, unless they're awkwardly sized. So the way I decided to do it is I decided to split up my really large categories. So like Dracula and Claudine and Frankie are like pretty big, so I didn't want to put the 3 of them together because we get them a lot. So this container has Claudine, Frankie, and Cleo. This container has Draculaura, Laguna, and Gulia, because I just happen to have a lot of Gulias. This container has everybody else, like the miscellaneous people, ones I only have 2 or 3 of. And this container has all the boys, regardless of what character they are. Then I have a lot of Abbies, and then we have Spectra, Operetta, and Meowdy, Persephone, and Toralei. Plenty of growing room, so like what, 66 times 4 is like close to 300 dolls you can fit in these 4 containers.
And this is gonna make it a lot easier for me, I think, because like a lot of the time I'll just need Dracula and a Draculaura for like a skit, or I'll just need one doll, and it's easier to go through, if I know where that one doll is, it's easier to go through 1 or 2 containers than a huge container.
But yeah, I like how this doesn't jiggle, and there's plenty of growing room. And like realistically, when I get Monster High dolls, say even if I got 10, they'd probably be split up pretty evenly between these containers. Everyone always says they love how Oliver comes onto camera. He likes the camera. He knows Colleen's taking pictures of Andy, and he is literally in the way, crying, meowing, because he wants to be this. Look at him.
Look at me.
He's like,
look at me. If you want a camera bomb, you gotta look at me. Cute.
What are you doing? Are you famous? Are you gonna go to Hollywood?
We're trying to get Andy because look at those funny feet.
Look at you. Hello, Booban. It's weird lighting in here right now. I know. I know.
so I know I made a lot of backdrops in this video already, but I did find some things at Walmart. So because of the time of year it is, because I got these at the end of February, the calendars were all half off. So I have one of these from last year, and what's really great about these calendars from this series is that they're made from like a plastic material, so I don't even need to cover them with contact paper, so that saves money on the process. And then we've been wanting like a kind of like street themed backdrop for different skateboarding dolls and flavas and things like that. We have a lot of use for it, and I had been thinking of making something along those lines, but when I saw this at Walmart, I had to grab it. I believe it was $6. Now it only has 30 sheets, but they're thicker than the regular kind. I'll get like one whole box out of this because there's 24 sheets, and I use 12 for each side, and there will be 6 left over, which is fine because I can use them for other things and pair them with other things.
So yesterday we went to the Salvation Army and we got this new, it's actually a tool sorter, but we're gonna use it like we use these for Barbie shoes, because we just feel like these need to be subdivided better. Like, look how full like this drawer is and how there's different molds. So Shelly was looking over my February vacation for something she could use to reorganize, and we looked at Walmart and we didn't really see anything we were married to. We thought, oh well, maybe we'll settle on something later, but then we found this. Yes, it is upside down. But the reason why Shelly was taping it is because it doesn't have a real back, so she taped this to it. And if you look at the black and yellow one that got us ages ago, it likewise just has a cardboard back.
Cardboard back.
Oh, you did?
Out of a Dr. Pepper box.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Why? Because when you have these, see, they're technically, like, you can see a little bit of air getting in there, and that's okay. Like, it's actually good that there's some airflow. But the problem is the back of this was super open. This provides so much more sturdiness. So only 3 of them have broken handles, and then one's missing. And then these 2 are different for some reason. But they do have, it's supposed to have like these little dividers that go in, but we didn't get many, and I doubt we're gonna use them.
But we just kind of set them inside in case we like find a use for them.
Yeah.
So I only filmed a few minutes of us organizing the shoes because honestly it was really difficult to decide how we were going to do it. There were categories that were easy where we had a lot of shoes that were literally the same mold, but then when you get into more modern Barbie shoes from like the 2010s era, they have so many more mold diversity, which can make it really difficult to separate. It wasn't like with the 90s where there was the classic pump and the classic tennis sneaker and things like that. So We went back and forth a lot. We kind of subdivided things roughly, saw how they fit into drawers, went through more drawers, then we went through the entire thing at the end and kind of went through each drawer and decided which ones we were really happy with and which ones we felt needed to be divided further. So I want to say we spent 2 to 3 hours working on this on Sunday, but it was fun and I do enjoy organizing. It can be a little frustrating when you don't have the answer to exactly how you want to organize right away, and it's a lot of just tinkering around, but I'm very tenacious and so is Colleen, so we figured it out, and I really like how it all looks now. It's going to be so much easier to find shoes, and there's going to be so much more growing room because we do get a lot of shoes in different bins, and it also allowed for some older shoes to get redistributed for other doll types, which you'll see at the end clip when I show what everything looks like.
So we have completed the project, and I do want to say I soaked all of the drawers in soapy water overnight, then put them out to dry by the wood stove, and then I wiped them down one more time with all-purpose cleaner because these used to hold like machine screws and stuff. So if you're gonna reuse any kind of like tackle box or tool storage thing for doll stuff, like when it's been used, obviously, make sure to clean it really well because things like that leave a lot of grime. So these little drawers I didn't label because most of them hold like a certain kind of mold. Like these are kind of like the 90s classic mules. These are like the smaller mules. These are square-heeled mules. These are like the platform mules from the early 2000s. There are like a few that have mixed batches, but the drawer size is really small, so I can't put labels on them very easily. 7 empty drawers. And then we have like, you know, miscellaneous special pumps, open toe, wedges. These are all like that classic tennis shoe mold, random sneakers. These are for like Becky dolls, like Barbies with articulated bodies from the 90s. These are some of the pre-existing drawers we had. So obviously we emptied out one of these entire things that just had Barbie shoes. So we split up all of like classic pumps because we had a ton. Like one of these drawers was pretty full. So these are all like neutral colors. We have a drawer just for pink ones. And then these are the rest of the colors because when we are looking to photograph dolls for like whether it's for sets or their photos of what they came with, it's easier to find them this way. And then these are all like the work boot molds from the 90s, like Pet Dr. Barbies. And then these are smaller boots. And then these are just like random off-brand dolls. Like I have some Forever Best Friends shoes, Britney Spears, Flavas, because Flavas Flavas are such a different size. Same with Star. Even though they're like made by Mattel, they don't wear the same shoes. These are Monster High boy shoes, Frankie, Draculaura, and Claudine. And then this is the rest of my Monster High shoes because this drawer was getting really heavy, and we use Monster High dolls a lot.
And it was just getting really hard for me to find, like.
So that's how everything looks right now. And I'm glad because I knew I was going to have to reorganize like my Barbie shoes because they were kind of getting out of hand, and now we have growing room. And so I always try to organize with growing room, as I said previously, with my Monster High dolls, because this will hold me over for a really long time, and like these drawers are not even that full. So we hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Dolly Diaries, but we're going to wrap it up here. So until next time, love your dolls, love yourself, and love your life.